Today we're talking about Alex, the D90 by Helderburg, and there's so many unique features on this build, I know you're going to love it. So I'm Paul Potratz, and today we're going to talk about Alex. And as I said in the intro, there's so many little details. I'm going to try to point most of them out, but let's talk about the obvious, the color. This started out as a Porsche color, but then we tweaked it and played with it, and it's a beautiful color. It won't do justice on the video or in the pictures. This is definitely something you need to see. And this is a 3-stage paint job. I get asked a lot of times, like, why does the paint look so great on the Helderburg? Well, that's because we put a lot of preparation into it, into the body panels, and that's the key to it, putting all the preparation. But again, it is a 3-stage, and what that means is this is a concourse level paint job. It does have a very thick layer of clear coat, so that allows you to basically buff any scratches out. So if you decide to go out in the woods, which I would encourage you to use this truck however you want, and don't be scared, because it's a very, very thick paint and it will buff out. But what it also does too is we finish with a polymer layer, and the polymer, it allows you, like bird droppings, tree droppings, just rain, all the impurities that happens. This paint is sealed with the polymer layer, and it allows you to just take a hose, a garden hose, spray it off, and the dirt falls off. I know that sounds crazy, but it's basically the same thing as a ceramic coating, except it's a polymer. And what the polymer does versus a ceramic coating is the polymer, when you run your hand across it, it feels just smooth as glass. And look-wise, it makes the paint look very, very deep because it's filling the pores. So again, this deep gray paint with the black accents, it goes really well. So you're probably noticing something really bright and orange here. Of course, you know it's a winch, but this is a winch max. I could have very easily done a Warn winch, which Warn winches are from the US, but this is a winch max directly from the UK. And it's just, I find it to be romantic because it says Winch Max UK. Granted, their logo looks a lot like Warn for some reason, I don't know why, but since it is an English truck, I think it should be an English winch, and surely you'll agree. I still need to put, I didn't put the hook on it because I'm putting a little different hook mechanism on the front here, so that will be going on pretty soon. The bumper is a very thick steel bumper. If you were to hit something with this bumper, it's going to do a tremendous amount of damage, possibly even total that car that you end up hitting, because this heavy steel bumper weighs about 160 pounds. It is a turbo diesel, and it does have the, I guess you could say, the Helderburg style headlights, which are the broken beam headlights, which are LED, and then the LED marker lights, the billet aluminum headlight surrounds that we put in here. That's, again, billet aluminum, and it just makes it for a very nice accent. The Puma bonnet, which actually has the bump in it, it's not the recessed one. And if you've been watching our builds for a while, you know that we normally don't do the recessed one unless we put a tire on top of the bonnet. So everything's perfect. And let me be clear, because I do get the question a lot, that is it a restoration and what level of a restoration is Alex? I will tell you, it is a body off, frame disassembled, full nut and bolt. I can't be more clear than that. Every single part in this build is brand new. The wiring harness, the engine is completely rebuilt, the transmission is new, the transfer case is new, the front and rear differentials are new. The only thing that stayed original was the frame and then the actual housings where the axles are at. So that's really about all that is original on the build. So you could go through this with basically with a Q-tip, and I don't know why I said a Q-tip, forget that thought, but you could go through this and you will see that everything is completely new. I think I harped on that enough, but the paint that's on the bottom side of this build is as perfect as it is on the top side of the build. So you could roll under it and be like, oh wow, the paint really is perfect. The frame, what we did with the frame to put an extra coating on it, or protection, is we did a Raptor coating. So of course, we put the frame in a frame table, we check it for trueness, straightness, we get rid of any rust or corrosion, and then it's bead blasted, it's sent to a powder coater, and then what we did, the final, is covered it with a Raptor coating, which gave it a textured coating. But you can see all of the originality of the frame. It has been lifted, it's lifted about 3 inches. It has the proper wheels, it has the, meaning that we get that poke outside of the arches, so it's a 45-degree offset. It has the proper radius arms, so when you lift the truck to do it properly, it's not just coil springs and shocks. A lot of times when people lift, they just do the coil springs and don't even do the shocks. So the shocks don't have the right amount of travel. This does have the right amount of travel. This has an Old Man Emu suspension under it with I-box springs, so it's given it the proper amount of lift. This one, I did not do the anti-sway, the anti-roll bars under it, because Lucy and I, she's waiting for me by the way, we're going to take this on a lot of trips. So I've got some really fun trips planned to go out west. I am in Sharon Springs, New York, so we're going to take it out west, like Moab, those type of places. So I want to be able to have all that wheel articulation. So turbo diesel, it has a VNT turbo, it has an extra large intercooler on it. The injection pump's been custom designed, custom built. Exhaust system is tweaked a little bit. It's not my normal performance sport exhaust. It's more of a standard exhaust, except for what we did with the actual muffler system. It's tucked up pretty high in the rear back there, so it allows me to have more clearance when I'm off-roading. I know you're thinking, yeah, sure, Paul, you're going to off-road. Yeah, we do, trust me. So we're going to have a lot of fun. But let me walk around the side. Let me point out some things that you can really notice. Other than just the color, there's some little touches that you're going to love. So now that we're at the side of Alex, I'm going to point out a few things. The first thing is Lucy's ready to go. She's saying, let's go. I'm tired of you talking. Let's go on an adventure. But right here on the side, you'll notice I didn't do the normal step-up bar that I normally do, because we are, well, I say off-roading, we are definitely going to go off-road. I don't know what we're going to get into. It's not like we're going out trying to get stuck. We're going out to just have some adventures. With the step-up bars, those bars are not rigid enough. They don't have enough strength if I'm going over rocks or stumps or anything like that. They will actually bend, and they will bend the underside of the vehicle. Therefore, I did the flip-up step, because it gives me more clearance, is what it does. And if you notice, when I just flipped that up, that was a heck of a thunk. So normally what you will see on a Defender is there's just a very thin piece of aluminum that's under the door that's just part of the body panel that would be painted the same color as the body panel. But listen to this. That's pretty rugged. So what this is a rock slider, tree slider, whatever you want to call it. So if I get into some kind of situation where it's kind of difficult, granted, I can flip this up and hopefully it will be all right, saved. If not, I mean, this is pretty dense, but if not, this can just pop off, get broken, not a big deal, but it will not damage the vehicle itself, because these are very thick and these are actually connected to the steel frame too. So that's the first thing that you'll notice. And of course, always the billet aluminum hinges that I always do. But here's one of the tricks that you have not seen on another Helderburg until now. And we're still working on this, revamping this, but the door handle is aluminum. It's billet aluminum. It does not have the finger grooves on it this time, and for the very reason that we wanted to be able to do this. So when you open the door, the light comes on, or when you do your remote control, then it lights up the door handles, allowing you to see the door handle. Why do you need to see the door handle? I don't know. I just thought it was really cool. That's the only reason that's done, because I thought it was really cool. But the one thing is that you have this as your courtesy light. You have your courtesy light on the top here. You have your courtesy light up here. And then you have courtesy lights in the dash, the lower dash. So when you open that up, everything opens up. It's controlled by the pin, so everything lights up just like a modern vehicle. All right, so now that we talked about that, tell me guys, do you love this color or what? I absolutely love this color. It's close to a slate gray, but maybe feels a little richer. So moving on, again, attention to detail. This is a full body off, nut and bolt. Everything has been replaced. I mean, absolutely everything. Every pin, every rod, every spring inside the doors, everything is new. Every nut, every bolt, and every single rivet. So instead of painted rivets, which you'll see on a lot of Defenders, a lot of builds, restorations, a lot of people use that term restoration very loosely. What does that really mean? Well, what that means when it comes to Helderburg, it really is restored. So we even replace all of the rivets. But on these rivets, we didn't just spray paint over them. We put the rivets in individually after the point. And this is probably the first time ever you've seen black rivets. These are anodized aluminum rivets that, again, just attention to detail. Did it all the way around. And normally, on the back corner, what I do is I do the galvanized silver corners right here, and I opted not to do it on this one, which is the second time I've not done that. And the reason being is because I wanted a very monotone design, and the silver, it just wouldn't flow. It just wouldn't go with the design that I had in mind, especially since I had the black rivets. I got the black window trim that's all anodized aluminum, the black door handles, the black rock sliders, the black steps, the black wheels, and then when we get to the rear, you'll see where it continues on. But again, all of the black anodized rivets, everything's been replaced. So let's go to the rear, let's talk about that. But when we get to the interior, you're gonna be like, oh wow, this is sexy. So before I get into the details, let me give you a little backstory that I got all excited and told you all about Alex. So this build, in fact, started about 3 years ago as a side project that I said, okay, I want to build something that we can take out, Lucy and I, go on an adventure, see some things, whether we go to Maine, New Hampshire, Nova Scotia, go out west. I just wanted to be able to go wherever. And again, I did not build it to be an off-road mudder. I built it to be an adventure vehicle that if we see a trail, we can go down that trail, we can enjoy it. Because I don't enjoy going out and trying to get stuck for the sake of getting stuck, to use a winch and all that. That's not what I find enjoyable. Going out with my camera and my dog and just seeing new things and finding adventures, that's what I really, truly enjoy. So things that you're probably curious about, for example, the tire size. I always get asked, what size tires are you doing? This is a 315/75/16 tire. So it is a 35-inch tire. It is the Cooper STT Pro, and it has good usability on the road and off the road. It's a little noisy on the road, but it's not bad. It does well in the rain. It does well in the snow. It does well in the sand. Of course, I have to air down for the sand. But it's just a good all-purpose tire, as is the BF Goodrich KM3. Yeah, KM3. KO2 is more of a roadworthy tire, but the KM3 is a tire I really like a lot too, and so is the Toyo Open Country. So talking more about Alex here, some of the things you'll notice is the rear bumper right here, that it's just a step is basically what it is. I didn't do the normal NAS bumper. While those are great, but if you're really going to be using your vehicle for adventure, not the best bumper. But I did add the hitch, and it will just be a short amount of time before you see a different a receiver coming out and a motorcycle rack because I do plan on carrying a dirt bike with me too. If you look under Alex, you'll also see the rear differential protection, and there is protection on the actual fuel tank up there too. So went through, took all precautions to do that. Again, I mentioned the black anodized rivets. You'll see that they'll continue on, and then I also did the smoked tail lights, turn signals, fog light, backup light. And here's an interesting point. European vehicle, you only have one backup light versus in the US we have two backup lights. So one over there is your backup light and this one is your fog light. So if you're in foggy condition like the Scottish Highlands, UK, wherever you're at, then you flip the switch and this is a bright red light. And then of course you have your red light and you have your orange light because that's what color the LEDs are, but it gives it a nice sleek look here. Bead locker style wheels, and it allows you to air down, and they also look good. You'll also notice I did not do tint, which is very rare. I've only not done tint one other time, which was on Elizabeth, the D110, which you can find on the website, which was my personal Defender for about 3 years. And the reason that I don't do tint is because when it starts getting darker in the evening and you have all those tinted windows, it makes it really difficult to be able to see what you're trying to find in the rear. This way I have that natural light coming in and I enjoy it, more light. And then also the Alpine windows along the roof, they are not tinted either because I want as much light as possible. And as you start to get a little older, your eyes start to get a little weaker, the more light, the better. And I just like a nice bright cabin. And especially with the color of the interior here, which we're gonna take a look at next, I wanted to have as much light as I could. Side windows are sliding windows versus normally I do just a window that does not open, but I wanted the sliding windows specifically for Lucy so she can hang her head out because she does enjoy that. And now she's relaxed and she's gonna wanna come out, but let's take a look at the rear. First thing you'll notice on the door, look how easy that was. It's a very easy door and it shuts really easy. Before we get into it, you'll notice the billet aluminum hinges on the back, and then I did the backup camera here in a different way also, that it gives me a really good perspective. Normally we've been doing backup cameras in the license plate light, and we'll continue to do that, but for this truck I did that instead, trying that, and it's a pretty good view, so that allows me to see if I'm backing up to make sure I don't hit anything. So let's move inside now and let's take a look at the interior. All right, so Lucy said, why am I not on camera? So here's Lucy, of course, and she's gonna be really cozy in here. So the first thing that we did on the floor right here is we added additional padding. So I have additional layers of sound deadening, which is our lizard skin that increases it by a R factor of 8. And then we do 2 layers of butyl rubber and then 1 layer of foam. Not only does that help the padding for her elbows, so it's more comfortable when we're going over uneven surfaces and everything, but it just makes, and also it also comes up on the side here too. So I can fold these seats up out of the way so she doesn't hit the steel corners, but it gives her more padding and also more insulation, whether it's cold or whether it's hot outside. And you'll notice that her collar today does match my watch band, of course. Yeah, I'm weird. But anyway, looking at the interior, we'll notice that it's a dark, dark gray and a medium gray that is quilted. So it has that diamond stitch pattern. I didn't do a contrast stitch. I matched the stitching to the lighter gray and just really broke everything up. The carpet in here is a wool carpet. It's a German square weave wool carpet, and the edges have all been bound in the dark gray leather, which was the leather that we used on the interior. So moving in, I gotta show you something because I felt like this was really important since this was gonna be basically Lucy's vehicle. I needed more storage, and let me show you some of the things I did to come up with storage options. So very apparent, you probably know where I'm getting ready to go, but the rear door is all covered in leather. It's all stitched. Even the handle here is stitched. It is foam padded again because of Lucy. If she's bouncing around in here, I wanted to make sure everything was padded that I could pad. Handle's padded, this is padded, and then we have a storage option here that allows me to carry her fold-up canvas water bowl and her fold-up canvas, or well, I say canvas, it's not really canvas, it's a wax cloth is what it is. and it allows me to carry the little things that I need for Lucy, and then a leash, that type of stuff. So created a pocket that's built on the door here. It's all in leather, and it's just a nice little touch to keep everything out of the way. And then we're going to move inside of the interior a little more, because you'll notice that I carried the pockets onto the back of the seats on both seats. So while this is a D90, I won't be able to sleep back here comfortably, but I've definitely slept in a D90 before when we were out doing trips. And the way I do it is I open up the rear door and just get cozy. But again, it's not ideally comfortable for that. But the cargo area is the same size in a D90 as it is at D110. Again, cargo area is the same in both. But in a D110, you can easily sleep in it, but you have to remove the second row seats. And that's what I did in Elizabeth, is I put a center console in the center of the second row seats, and then that console easily popped up. I had quick release nuts inside the console, popped it up, moved it out of the way, and then I had a nice area to be able to sleep. But this is plenty of area for Lucy and Leo, and to carry my camera gear and everything else. So one of the things that I want to point out in here that is a first as far as for a Helderburg build is the window surrounds, the material. Normally what we do is we do an Italian Alcantara suede all around the windows and on the ceiling. But on this build, I wanted to be able to, again, this was a purpose-built vehicle because I knew Lucy was going to be here, back here a lot. So if I did the Alcantara suede, when she starts to slobber, hanging her head out the window, it's hard to get that suede clean. So this is all dark gray leather all around the windows, so she can slobber as much as she wants. And it's also a lot more durable in case she decides to put a paw up there, which normally she doesn't, but just in case. So again, purpose built to be able to keep it clean and keep it really nice. And I do have the question is, can adults sit back here? And the answer is yeah, it definitely can. I prefer the center facing bench seats versus the bucket seats, because the bucket seats, where there's 4 of them, they stick out much farther and they eat up a lot of space here in the cargo area, versus these don't take up as much space. And as far as an adult, I mean, you can put 4 adults here. It wouldn't be the best situation, but 2 adults, yeah, definitely. And they can get comfortable. It does have seat belts. And it's not bad. I mean, it's good. And then you got the side windows that open up, so you get a lot of that fresh air. It just allows you to feel part of your surroundings. Now, let's finally move up to the front, the cabin, where Lucy's taking the driver's wheel now, and talk about some unique features there. So I hope you guys are keeping up with all the unique features between, I won't even go back, just watch the video again and see how many unique features that you can find that's not normally on a Helderburg, but I'm sure you will see them on more Helderbergs. Oh, one more unique feature. Double handles right here. So you've got your pull-up handles right here that are also covered in leather. So here we are, we're in the cabin, we're in the front, and we're going to continue talking about unique features, things that are different. So the first thing that I want to point out is there's absolutely, positively, not one piece of plastic in this vehicle. Or what I do mean, there's not one piece of exposed plastic in this vehicle. Everything is covered in black leather. So the instrument binnacle, all leather. The top of the dash, the side of the dash, the lower dash, the air conditioning unit, everything is covered in leather. The center cubby that's holding the 11.1 inch Alpine head unit here, which has a front camera and a rear camera, is all covered in leather. Even the trim around the glove tray, all covered in leather. I just don't like plastic, and I've said we're going to cover everything in leather. Again, two-tone interior here. This is a little more of a sporty seat. It does have lumbar control. They are heated, and even the sun visors are covered in leather. This one does have hands-free, and here's something that I'll tell you that you won't see on another build. I mean, and I'm not talking about a Helderburg. You'll see it on a Helderburg build, but normally when they put the hands-free calling, they put this little microphone, this little cheesy microphone that's clipped right there. And we used to do that too, honestly. But now what we're doing is we're building the microphone into the headliner here. So there's a nice little grill. It's recessed, it's out of the way, and you have a microphone on this side and a microphone on that side. So then both you and your passenger can be easily heard on a hands-free call. Granted, I don't plan on doing a lot of hands-free calls because I plan on just having a lot of adventures and just having fun. Let's talk about the audio system in here. This is an 11.1 inch screen with front and rear cameras. It's sensing the voltage in the vehicle, and it does run apps, and we've configured it too, so we can run Onyx, which is another mapping program that allows you to find basically off-road trails and allows you to see if you're on somebody's property or if it's common property, that type of stuff. So that's there. It does have 12 volt. It does have USB-C and USB the standard too. So we've covered all the avenues of that. Again, heated seats, three-way heated seats, by the way. And then locking it into four-wheel drive or locking your transfer case is simply done from right here, which both of the knobs are also covered in leather and they are hand stitched. Steering wheel is a Momo steering wheel. I did it with black spokes versus the normal aluminum and wrapped it in leather. It just makes it a little thicker and I enjoy that. And then you'll also notice too, the door cards, door panels, all covered in leather, and then I even carried the pockets on in here so I can carry more stuff right here, whatever I want to carry. I don't know what I'm going to put in, but I got so much storage in here now, which is definitely different when it comes to a Defender, and I'm really enjoying that. And then the aluminum door handles, had to keep a little bit of the billet aluminum, but we did wrap this in leather here. Again, this is all hand stitched. It took weeks to do this interior. I mean, I think it took about 5 weeks to complete everything. Because if you think about it, the B pillars here are all covered in leather and just all the stitching and all the fitting and the finishing and the air conditioning and the lower dash and even the steering box is covered in leather. This is a tremendous amount of work. This is weeks and hundreds of hours just in the interior alone. So moving on down, the handbrake all covered in leather, the boot, I mean, it's beautifully done. I love this, and I did keep a little bit of the billet aluminum around the gauges. The gauges are backlit LED, so I can see them nice and bright at night. So what else can I tell you about it? Other than we're gonna go drive, we're gonna take a ride, and you can see it in all different perspectives, but I absolutely love this build. I've had a number of people call me saying, hey, let me buy it. And I've been like, let's hold off, because again, this was a purpose-built vehicle for Lucy and I to do a trip and go out and take pictures. So I need to do some trips, and then I will offer it for sale. But one more thing I'll point out is in the passenger floorboard, well, not the floorboard, on the front of the seat box, we put a fire extinguisher there too, because you never know when you're out camping that you accidentally start a fire when you have your campfire going. So again, a purpose-built vehicle. There's only one thing left and we're going to be ready to go, and we're going to do an onboard air system. So that way we can air the tires down and then air the tires back up easily and have our own air source. And then I guess if we get spoiled, we can even do an air mattress too, but we won't show you that part. So this is Alex. Now let's go for a ride.